Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 135. It is Tuesday today here in Cincinnati. It is foggy, wet, gray, dreary outside. There is no hint even of sunshine. And as I've been looking at pictures of other locations, at least around the US, there's snow and all this white, and we are definitely in a time of gray right now. So I am finding the beauty in it. I looked out the window this morning and it was foggy in between the trees, and it was just so beautiful to see the mist moving through. So I took a picture. I'll share that gray with you from this dreary city. Knowing that tomorrow we could have snow, we could have sunshine, it could be anything. So I arrived today in this place of exploring the topic of boundaries or sharing, or not quite sure how it's all going to fall into place, but it feels like something that I want to sort of meander through, and we'll see where it goes. I was thinking about the Grammys again this morning and how there is so much excitement generated when all of these superstars and gifted musicians and artists are in one place all at the same time. Because, and Star, by the way, is running back and forth between windows today. He's very excited about what he sees outside, which apparently is more than what I see outside. But as I was thinking about the Grammys and the mystery of the unknown, you know, when everyone watches the televised event, it's because we don't quite know what we're going to see. We know something new will be created, and there might be something unpredictable that happens, and the chemistry of all of the stars together and whatever they make in that new moment will be exciting to watch. So this element of being together live in community, something cool can be formed that we didn't know was possible when everyone was in their own little areas doing their own thing. And that's exactly what happened. You know, just some beautiful new songs or new versions of songs. I remember when Dolly Parton was standing on stage and all these different stars kept coming forward and singing with her, and she was her, but she was engaging with all of these different individuals in new ways. And so the songs were different and they were fun, and you know, the whole audience was on their feet honoring this legacy of this beautiful star. And so as I was thinking about that, I was also thinking about my friend Alicia Mathewson, who is starting her Kickstarter today to raise funds for her new album, and how it was so exciting for me to be awake as she was launching that and watching her live video. She was live on Facebook in the moment, singing this new album into existence through this Kickstarter energy, and I was able to be here live in the moment watching her on social media, but participating in the energy of it, and how that creates more energy. It creates collaboration in a new way. It creates this excitement for her, knowing she's supported, for me to be part of supporting her. It's just fun, and more gets manifested, more gets felt, more is experienced by everyone involved when we're live, you know, when we're live in the moment together. The other image that came to mind was my husband. Whenever he does electrical work around the house, he always makes sure that he turns off the power, because he has seen what happens when a live wire is touched by someone trying to do a repair, you know, in all of the stage work that he does. And people get that jolt of that live connection. You know, I'm using electricity as an example, but it's the same feeling as when we as humans are together live in an experience together. The live wire will just jolt all this electricity through the human body and hurt the person because it's so much coming through all at one time. And so to be safe, you turn the power off before you do the electrical work. When we're together in person, it's difficult to turn that power off. It's just natural that more energy is going to buzz and surge through us as we're all in the same moment together creating something new. This is why concerts are so powerful and so popular. You can have access to an artist's songs on Spotify or YouTube, or buy their album and listen to it over and over and get your value for that album, in the fourth, fifth time you've heard it. But to go to their concert, we are willing to exchange at a much higher rate, because we know when we are live in the moment with that artist, experiencing what they experience as they sing, as they pour their energy out to the crowd, we receive something so beautiful from that exchange that we're willing to pay a lot of money for it. It's the same for theater, right? Live theater. This is what my husband experiences at work. People exchange money to be able to sit in an audience and watch someone on stage doing their art, their craft, and sharing it in this beautiful public forum. Everyone receives something beautiful from that experience. Well, beautiful to them, right? Some of us, we may not prefer all forms of art or theater or music, and so there may be a different feeling of the value if it's a group you don't really like, or a show you find boring, or whatever the exchange is. But the intent is that the exchange will provide value for those on stage and for those in the audience receiving. I describe this in my book, One Day Gaia's Gifts, with the way that energy flows in the one soul that I share his story. The way that energy flows at a live venue, at a live concert, how it is sent from the artist to the speakers out to the audience and magnified, and then the audience runs it through their body and then pours the energy back out to the artist on stage. And so everyone is moving energy through that moment, that experience of time together. And it expands everyone. It expands the artist, their confidence, their joy in their work, their financial abundance. It expands the person in the crowd. Hopefully, they're going to receive what they want from their exchange of money, or more, or much more. It's expanding the physical place, the location where that concert or theater takes place, right? The venue becomes more valuable. Everything expands. And it comes from that live connection, that live moment, the hot wire that is activated when energy is running in that experience at that moment and people are available for it. And so that's the beauty of the Grammys. Even though it's recorded earlier and televised later, we know we're watching something that is televised as it's happening. It's, I guess, the same with football, right? When we watch football games or baseball or basketball, we are participating even through the channel of media that we're using by pouring our energy into the activity that we're watching. And so it feeds the creation of sport or the participation of the players. But we also will pay more to be live at the game. When we're home watching it, we're watching it for free, or whatever our channel costs are to have the media televised into our home. But it's minimal compared to actually going to the live football game or basketball game or baseball game or soccer game. There is a different value that we put on the exchange when we can be physically present in the moment, close as possible to the person. We even pay more for the front row seats than we do for the back of the stadium or back of the arena seats, because we want to be physically as close to the energy of the person on stage as possible. That idea of the value is what I am sitting with right now. I guess that's what I'm clarifying for myself in this space. Who determines that value? Some of it is the artist on stage with how they hold their value and what they charge for their concerts. Some of it is for the space holders, right? So for sports, it would be the team. What are, for example, the Cincinnati Bengals, what are they holding as their value as a team? And then the facility owners, what are they holding as the value to be able to use that huge stadium and run it with all the costs for running it? Some of it is the people who promote all of those events out to the public. And then a key part of it is, what is the public willing to pay, right? What are we willing to pay to go to a concert and watch a group that we love? We give them that information through our exchange. We either go to the concert and pay to be there, and we'll go again if we enjoy it, and we'll go again and again if we really enjoy it, and then shows get sold out as soon as the tickets are available. Or we'll decide it isn't worth what they're charging and we won't go. And then that group or artist or team or activity or show, it doesn't do very well. And then it eventually may go out of business because the value wasn't clarified. It wasn't an even exchange of value between the one receiving, the one giving, and what would be flowing or creating between them. A perfect example of this is Hamilton, right? The play Hamilton, that has such creative power, and the value of the exchange is holding so steady that it sells out before it ever opens everywhere it goes. I guess Bruce Springsteen is another example, when he had his run on Broadway, and he sold out in advance, and people were paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have a seat in the audience of a limited run that he was going to offer. He held his value, the venue was perfect, and then the audience was willing to exchange at this really high value because of what they knew they would receive in that time with him. He would pour his energy out to the crowd. They would welcome all of that energy and be expanded from the exchange. And it sustained him to be able to run for a long time, with that high intensity of exchange that he was holding. So all of this is something I'm just exploring in this moment. I have really been curious for myself about how much I share in free content and how much I want to start holding the exchange for, and what does that balance look like for me, and how do I value it, right? Because the way that I value it first is going to determine how it's received by others on the other end of the exchange. And then how does that energy flow, between me and whatever spaces I hold. And I'm doing it in this space, I'm sharing it here because I know there are others who have the same exploration, right? For any of us who are healers or teachers or guides, we want to serve, we want to pour our love out to everybody, we want to give. And also, in order to sustain that level of giving, we have to be resourced with our own time, our own energy, our own strength. Right? It's like my friends, I always say to them, make sure that you take care of your body. If you're going to be doing that work, you got to eat well, you got to sleep well, you got to drink water, you got to go to the gym, you got to make sure that your physical body can sustain what you're asking it to do in the healing work that you send out into the world. And it's taken me quite a while to master it, but I am so solid in the way that I manage my own energy and my own space and my resources, and it's easy now for me to show up and create this podcast and move on with my day and feel really good about what I'm sending out and not feel depleted, and love the validations and the nuggets of affirmation that come back from that. It's just a very easy exchange for me. And there's still plenty of energy that I'm resourced with to be able to do my healing work, to have my sessions, to host the meditations that I do, to create the new moon spaces, to take care of my family. Like, I've really started to figure it out. And just when we start to figure it out is usually when it's time for another expansion. And that's what I'm sitting with right now. It's like, I've got to figure it out. It feels good. And something's about to shift, and I know that in a really fun way. And I'm holding the value of what that is, and then creating that and sharing it, and seeing where it goes, seeing what the value is that others perceive it as. So it's fun. I guess that's the main thing I would share, is it doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be hard work. Like the Grammys, Alicia Keys, I'm sure she spent ages preparing for that night and going through all the scenarios and thinking about what it would feel like and how she would be in the experience and what she would need to hold space for. I'm sure she spent so much time pondering all of it. And when she showed up on that stage at the beginning of the night, she was grounded, rooted in her body, glowing, talking about how she was just here for the joy, here for the celebration, here. She even used the words to hold space, right? She knew what her role was, and she delivered it with such grace and such strength. I texted a friend of mine during the Grammys. I'm like, I'm in love with Alicia Keys. Like, she's phenomenal. Because she was just gloriously embodied and present in that moment. And that's how I want to keep showing up in the work that I do, enjoying it, which is where I am right now. It's so good. It's so good. It's so much fun. And there's more. There's always going to be more coming. So that's what I am spending my afternoon on, is defining what this next expansion looks like and putting it into some sort of physical form, and we'll see where it goes. But for now, Live Connection is the title that has come to me while I've been talking for today's podcast. Live Connection, because that is where we get the most buzz, power, fun, joy, giggles. Like that's where the beauty is. So consider that today as you're moving through your day. How are you bringing your full energy, your full buzz to the moments that you're in? Are you electrocuting someone with whom you engage today because you're so present with them? You're so in the joy of the moment with them that they feel you, they feel your energy, and you expand and they expand because you're that present. So good. So good. All right. More soon. Thank you for tuning in to today's vibration. Let's take this message of pure love out into all of our communities and continue expanding love here on Gaia. So much love from my heart to yours.